So, roughly 9 months since launch, thousands of hours spent gaming, and 3 platinums later. PS5, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's do this. So we're roughly 9 months into this generation, and I wanted to update you all on my thoughts on the PlayStation 5. So 5 things that I love, 3 things that I don't really like, and 2 things that I hate. So first up, the good. The 5 things that I love about the PlayStation 5 9 months after launch. So first up, let's talk about the games. The reason why we spend so much time and money on these expensive plastic boxes. Well, whatever shape you can call the PS5. But so far, from Returnal all the way through to Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, the games have been absolutely fantastic. Truly, truly brilliant. I have not had this much fun gaming since the GameCube, PS2 and OG Xbox generation. And yeah, nostalgia did play a massive part in that statement. But honestly, that is how I feel. Regardless of that, the games, the exclusive games on PS5 have really and truly made me fall back in love with gaming. So far, my favourites have been Returnal, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart and Astro's Playroom. Yeah, a free game has made my top 3 so far this generation. Next up, let's talk UI. And no, it is not perfect. And the beta version has made some incremental improvements in key areas. However, again, it's still not what I would call perfect, but it is super responsive, and thus it gets me from point A to gaming super quick, and that is something I truly, truly love about the PS5's UI. That's all that matters to me. Getting from the menu to my games as fast as possible. Getting from settings to my games as fast as possible. And that is why, to this day, I still do love the PlayStation 5's new UI. We can't talk about the good, the things I love, without touching upon the SSD. And yeah, sure, it is small, but I am not talking about capacity here. I'm talking about speed. Point A to loading to gaming has simply become point A to gaming on most PS5 games. Less time waiting and more time gaming. That, my friends, is a massive win. And though John Burton may disagree with me, I truly don't believe that Rift Apart could have been done without the SSD, or at least done to this level of fidelity and quality without this SSD. And honestly, I cannot wait to see what new game worlds, game mechanics, and just new games in general that this SSD allows developers and creators to make. Now, if you know me, you know I love 3D audio. And yeah, I was truly skeptical at first, but once I experienced it, I was sold. Honestly, Call of Duty multiplayer is not the same without it. Just all games that utilize it just truly, truly benefit from it. The separation and direction that 3D audio brings is just sublime. And honestly, playing games without it just makes the game sound so much more flat than normal. Last up, the big one. The one thing I truly love about my PlayStation 5, the DualSense. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. The DualSense is truly, truly magical. Honestly, this pad is probably, in fact, definitely the best pad I have ever used on a games console. It's very rare that a bunch of small, innovative things can come together and change the game. But that's what this pad has done. It's changed the game. Multiple games. Shooting games like Call of Duty just feel so much more immersive. Returnal's genius alt-fire mechanic would have not been possible anywhere else. And in some games where you know that clip is empty just by how the trigger feels, ridiculous. And this is just the start, 9 months in. Honestly, this is a level of innovation I would have expected from Nintendo. And honestly, that's probably the biggest compliment I can give to the DualSense, that this is something I would have expected Nintendo and Miyamoto to have come up with. This pad is fantastic, and honestly, other companies, Microsoft and Nintendo, need to step up to this level of immersion and step up to it fast. So, you know my top 5. But for those of you lucky enough to have one, what are the things you love most about your PlayStation 5s? So, now for the bad. And let's just address the elephant in the room. Yeah, the console is massive. That's the first word that comes out of anyone that has seen my PS5 for the first time. It's massive, it's huge. Oh my god, why is it so big? And yeah, I've seen it placed in some really dodgy areas within gaming setups just due to its sheer size. Does it actually bother me day to day? No, not really. Once it's set up and placed, it just lives where it is placed, silently, not bothering anyone. But would I have liked it to be smaller? Yes, 100% yes. This brings us on to the other size issue, the SSD. 667 gigabytes of space is simply not enough. Kraken decompression or not? Sure, yeah, Kraken decompression has allowed some PlayStation games to be half the size of their Xbox counterparts. However, we are still seeing games hit 200 or 300 gigabytes. That's a third to half of the storage gone. Installation and download speeds are simply not good enough to have us installing, deleting, swapping and reinstalling games on a whim. These are just storage gymnastics that are just not needed. And thus, this brings me on to the third thing I dislike about the PS5. The expandable storage options, M.2. It sounded really good at the start of it, but now, on the cusp of it launching to the public, I realised that this is probably not the best option. It sounded fantastic at first. Make retailers and suppliers fight for our hard-earned cash in a race to the bottom. Such a fantastic idea, but the execution is truly poor. The fact that the installation process requires a set of detailed instructions over several paragraphs just shows you that this execution leaves much to be desired. Yeah, overall the process is super clear, and as long as we adhere to these instructions, the PS5 will definitely benefit from it in the long run. But honestly, Sony needs to do more. They should release an official PlayStation branded M.2 expansion, even just to cut through all the noise. And for those of us that know, we can go with another brand, we can make our own decisions. But for those of us that don't, at least we can go into a shop and confidently know that this PlayStation branded M.2 drive will work in our massive console. So, last up in this section, and this isn't really bad per se, it's just a really odd omission. Why, 9 months after launch, have we still not seen any official plates from Sony? Sony knows that there's demand out there for these plates. I mean, they've gone after as many of these companies as they possibly can. But this lack of customization runs deep. 9 months after launch, there's still barely any customization options within the UI. This doesn't really bother me per se, because I normally just stick with the default. But 9 months after launch, Sony at least allow us to officially make our consoles our own. Talking about custom plates, if Sony do release custom plates, what colours do you guys think they'll release first? My bet is on black and red. Don't know why. Now, for the ugly. £70 games. Shambolic. Disgusting even. I'm from a generation where when I started gaming, it was brought to life by offers of 4 games for £20. Now we're looking at 4 games for £280. Mind blown. Sure, I get it. Games are more expensive to make than ever, but games are also making more money than ever via microtransactions, DLC, and things of the sort. I've said it before in my Ratchet & Clank impressions video. When I finished the game, I would have expected, for the price I paid, to have been 60% through the game, not 100% through the game. Don't get me wrong, Rift Apart is a fantastic game, and honestly, it almost justifies its price tag. But that's because that is the basis we are in now. £70 or $70 for Sony's AAA exclusives. It's a price we are being made to pay, but it's a price we shouldn't have to pay. I had this rule growing up that if I could get 10 games that I truly loved within a generation or console lifecycle, then that would be considered a great generation or a great console. At $70 a piece, that's almost $700 altogether, and that's a scary number to say out loud. And it's a shame really, because some games, some really big games, are just going to have to wait until I can get them discounted months later. It's a tax for the privilege of being able to play on the PS5, and that's shambolic. And that brings me on to the next thing I hate about the PlayStation 5, and that is the PS4 to PS5 upgrade system, or lack of. Before I get into it, yeah, I know some upgrades are free, and no, I'm not going to talk about the cross-gen save issue. That's slowly being resolved in games that are coming out now. But let's look at a game like Ghost of Tsushima that is currently sat in my backlog. Sure, I will get the PS5 upgrade, but why am I paying a premium to do so? Yeah, cool, I get extra content, the Icky Island DLC, but I've also paid a premium for your new console as an early adopter. Why am I being charged for the PS4 upgrade? Why is it not free? And what I mean by that is, why are you charging me more for the director's cut on PS5 than the upgrade on PS4? You've advertised these features as standard on your next gen console, and why are you then charging me for the privilege of using these features on the console I already own? Okay, now let's say I don't want the Icky Island DLC. Why is there not an option to have the game upgraded to the PS5 with all the PS5 features unlocked? I truly feel like Sony is using this time, maybe rightly so, to experiment with different upgrade options. But they shouldn't do this at the expense of the people, of the gamers that have put them in pole position. With all that being said, and with all the teething issues we've experienced, these 9 months have honestly been truly magical with the PS5, and I do truly love it more now than I did 9 months ago when I first got it. And for that reason, it gets an even bigger thumbs up from me. 10/10 recommend. But thank you all for watching, and as always, please like, share, comment and subscribe, and let's continue building this amazing community we're building together. Until the next one, guys, goodbye.